Mayor, it's a beautiful day. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. There's a lot of activity at the polls. We got a lot of turnout today. We're rolling around town visiting with all of our young volunteers.
I'm loving this.
And there's a lot of high energy to get to the polls today.
That is fantastic. My good friend Al Hartman is here. Come in here, Art. Get in here with us, Art. How'd they find this guy, Mayor? Where'd you find this old boy?
Standing between two rocks of San Antonio right here, yes.
You're way too nice.
But
Mayor, when this is all over and all the dust settled,
Yeah.
what's your first item? I know you're going to run through the tape. I know you're not going to stop. This is not some victory tour yet. You hadn't. It'll happen in a little bit. What's on your mind?
Well, the first thing is, as it's natural during election season, there's a lot of people, some things get divisive.
Yes,
and so
sir.
the first thing as mayor that I want to do is make sure that we get a community back together.
Excellent.
And we all start working together to move our city forward.
Yes,
Because I think a
sir.
lot of us, a lot of people on all sides of these different campaigns and the districts and the propositions see our city in the same way, which is that we want to be able to have a community where every family can thrive. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
what I've been focused on.
Absolutely. That's really fantastic. I'm concerned about property. I know I don't think it's going to pass.
I think you're right.
I think it'll go down, but I just hate those kind of initiatives keeps popping up.
Right.
How do we deal with that? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, the first thing is, number one, we've got to make sure that we have good awareness and education about what the city does and what it doesn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand a lot of the frustrations about, the rollback and erosion of rights that's happening at the state level. The frustrations that happen when, legislation doesn't get moved forward that is positive for our
Yeah.
community. So it's natural to have that frustration. But when petitions target the wrong level of government,
Exactly.
we have a lot of distrust. So I agree with you. I think people are now becoming more aware of what Proposition A and what it is and what it's not.
Yes.
And I think they're going to go out and vote against it for good reason.
Yes.
It's not going to make our community safer. So what we want to do is focus on the things that work. Number
bet.
one, making sure that we have good jobs and education pathways for people to get those jobs.
That's
and that we
important.
also properly resource our police department or our public safety departments so they can fight the real crimes in our community.
You
So,
bet.
it's an all hands on deck effort. But again, bringing the community back together so we can all work together to move our city forward is number one priority.
Let me ask you another question that's very important to me. I'm a political scientist type of guy. I realize how they limited the city manager this last prop.
That's right.
I don't like that as an idea. How
Yeah.
do we can't go back for a charter for 2 years now. I want to get that.
Sure.
I want to get that cleared up.
Yeah, well,
where are you on that?
State law says that if any change happens to a charter, you have to wait 2 years,
To do it again.
two election cycles before you can change the charter again by petition or by vote of the council. So we have a charter review commission. It's created by ordinance.
Yes, sir.
What they're going to do is get feedback from the community about what priorities people want to see and the things that need to be changed in our charter. That's certainly one of the conversations they're already having.
I want to be involved in
and
that
so,
part with you guys on that one.
So, again, if there is no change in the charter this time, they're going to continue to work on things like an ethics auditor,
Yes,
which
sir.
is something that we've talked about quite a bit. They'll also be working on, cleanups of some of the outdated language that's in the charter, but other things possibly that have come up over time. People have talked about term limits and the fact that we have 2-year terms and
Sure.
4-year terms. There's a lot of discussions that have happened in the public. They'll take all that input and begin those discussions, and then we'll work towards a date for an election.
That's outstanding. I heard the other day that you will be, if you're reelected, and you will be reelected, he will be reelected. Y'all got that? That you will be tied with Cisneros as the longest serving mayor. That's phenomenal.
Well, so
I didn't know that till I read the paper the other day.
San Antonio has a lot of different, in our history, have had a lot of different changes in term limits. When Mayor Cisneros served, there were no term limits. He served 8 years.
For 2 years, were they 2-year terms then?
Yeah, they were 2-year terms,
okay.
but there were no term limits. Very strict term limits were passed in the early 90s, and then mayors from then on were limited to 2-year terms.
That's what got me.
Under Mayor Hardberger, those loosened up, so I will be the first mayor to serve 4 terms that has been term limited. So it's a great honor. I look forward to the work ahead if I'm given this responsibility
you bet.
again. But yeah, it's quite something to think about how long I've been serving this
amazing.
community and how
That is
my
really
son's
great.
grown from that
Jonas
tall
was down
to,
here, the big old boy down the right side.
So
The other thing I want to ask you, and I'll let you go on this, I've got to go in there and vote too. I waited to vote because I was told by one of your guys, one Dwayne Robinson, that you were going to be over here around 4. I said, you know what? I'm waiting. I'm going to go in there and vote when the mayor's here. And I'm not just jiving you people. There's my ID. Okay? I'm going as soon as I finish. I like your equity lens approach.
Yeah.
How you're really leveling the playing field for everybody. What can you say about, that will continue obviously in your long term.
Sure will.
And the results have been really good in terms of economic development, make sure everybody get their piece of the pie and grow from the stuff we missed in the past. Are you staying with that approach?
You bet I will, because
that's
look,
amazing.
San Antonio is a community that has grown up with disparities.
Yes, let's admit it.
And it didn't happen overnight. It's not going to be undone overnight. But for us to have a city where every family can thrive, depending on where you are, where you're living, there's different needs.
Yes, sir.
Infrastructure is a little bit different on the east side than it is on the south side or the north side.
Yes, sir.
So we need to make sure that we're putting our resources where they're needed the most in terms of whatever services or infrastructure that's needed. That's the way you would budget your household. That's the way we should budget our city if we want to be fiscally responsible and also live up to the promise that every resident, every family deserves a quality city to live in.
Absolutely. I said the last thing. This is the absolute last thing I'm going to ask you. Your Sabeda program has been outstanding.
Thank you. Well,
and a lot of minority contractors, women, blacks, Hispanic, you name it, everybody getting a piece of the rock now.
Yeah.
Will you continue to push that? I'm sure you will. I've got to ask the question.
Yeah, and that started 20 years ago, so I can't take credit for the creation of Sabeda, but I will take a little bit of credit for continuing it.
Yes, sir.
Because it's very important for us, and that's also part of creating an equitable community, is that some businesses historically have been left out of opportunity.
Sure.
Sabeda allows for opportunity to be shared freely and fairly. And so we have been seen as one of the cities that's gotten it right. It's not easy to do this. No. It's governed by law.
Yes, sir.
You have to really study and have data to support those disparities. But cities around the country are looking at San Antonio and how we've conducted our Sabeda program as the way to do it, a model city.
Yes, sir.
And we want to continue to be that.
Look, Mayor, I want to just tell you, I appreciate all that you've done. I go back to District 8 with you. You went Trinity as a broadcaster. So I go way back with, and I know that you're very consistent, you're very professional, and I want to tell the public out there, if you're in professional services, you're in procurement or hard bid construction, this Sabeda program that he's managing still is important. It's, at the end of the day, Mayor, you like me, it's politics and economics go together. He gets it. So let's ride with him the rest of the way, and we'll see where we go from there. Mayor, thank you, and good luck, buddy.
Good to see you, man.
I'll see you later on tonight at the victory party. I'm loving this. How about that?
All right, so tell us a little bit about the Fellows program and some of the things you're doing specifically for the campaign.
Absolutely. The fellowship program is basically to ensure that the future leaders of America are prepared as possible for what's going to hit them as soon as they hit the ground running with campaigns like this. So we make sure to nurture them by doing weekly presentations, going over what the political sphere looks like, how the infrastructure works for all of this, and the different opportunities that they have. Another thing that we've been really grateful for is community leaders stepping up to come speak to them, give them some insight and some honesty into what this life is going to look like for them. And the final thing is that I'm just so proud of them, because over the last 2 months they have canvassed and they have phone banked, and in the last 2 months they've actually reached over 55,000 constituents. So I'm grateful for the learning experience, but I'm also grateful for such an amazing team.
So tell me, this isn't your first rodeo. This isn't your first campaign. Have you ever been involved in a campaign, Joko, that allowed the young people to be given the keys to the car and drive and do so many important things?
Yeah, I actually worked with Battleground Texas. My leader at Battleground Texas, Dawn Malone, is actually the reason why I am the leader that I am. She was so compassionate, and she really let me, show what I was capable of doing under her leadership, and I'm so grateful to her for the learning experience, but for also the ability to spread my wings and fly, and I want to create those same opportunities for my fellows as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of opening up your wings and flying, so what is next for you? What does the future look like for you?
I'm hoping I can become a statewide director. I'm really confident in my skill set, and I know I can do it. Just got to wait for the next bag, but I'm ready.
All right, so what are you going to tell these young people, all our viewers, to motivate them and get them excited to let them know that their voices count?
Your voice means everything. You have to stand up for your people. I'm here to represent my people and my gente. I'm proud of my ancestors, and I know they're proud of me as well. And if you step up and you participate, you can make an impact on this community as well.
Thank you so much. Right back at you.
Hi, everybody. I'm with Whitney Holmes Oliver, the head honcho for the David Scott YMCA. Whitney, I was this morning at the breakfast.
Yes.
The community, it was fantastic. The place looked like it was sold out. How do you feel about what happened today with that, and what's that all about?
Yeah, so today is year 30, which marks our annual celebration for prayer breakfast.
That's awesome.
And so this is a day of social responsibility, right? When we think about building community and building a healthier community, it takes that connectiveness and efforts like our annual prayer breakfast to not only fundraise to give back to our community, but also provide a place for our community to come in and vote and do their due diligence in supporting our social responsibility work.
Whitney, you have been fantastic leading this community over here, and the David Scott has seemed to be on the move. I like what I saw this morning. I like the hands. I like this location. What else can this community do to continue to keep this place in the spotlight? What's on your mind? What do you want to see? What's your vision? Let's say the next 5 years. Where do we go from here?
Absolutely. As our community is continuing to grow, it's ensuring that we are able to provide the services that our youth need, that our seniors need, a place, a safe haven that they can get anywhere from mental health care to health and wellness activities, not just for our adults, but also for our youth, but truly serves in a sense that we are connected with each other, but we're doing it in a way that bridges relationships, it bridges, opportunities for the next generation, but also serves as a thriving, community, a healthy community. And so when I look at what we envision year 5, my hopes and our goals are, is that we have a new facility that is of that.
We may be breaking news here. I don't want to jump out too soon. That's important. That is extremely
Absolutely.
important. Well, look, I just want to tell you, we appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
This YMCA has been a pillar in this, the better word, a pillar in this community. And it's people like you that's dedicated to making things happen. So I want you to know that the African American community, obviously, but it's the whole community. You've seen this district, the demographics are changing. Let's be honest about that.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that the David Scott Y is not going to be here for other people. And so can you just tell us, again, what does this really mean to this community, this
Yes.
David Scott Y? What's behind it, the history? A little bit of that, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. So back in the 70s, our facility here, what you see now as the David Scott Family YMCA, was created for African American youth, to have a safe haven. As I'm a product of our Y, I see our Y as a generational Y, Our communities are forever changing and evolving, and it's important for us to continue to serve those needs that our community is needing, So having programs like Midnight Basketball, having programs like mental health where you can come into a safe place to be able to not only take care of your mind, but also have annual prayer breakfast to take care of your spirit. So when we talk about building a healthy spirit, mind, and body for all, the Y, the David Scott Y, is just a great testament to the work that we're doing to serve each and every one of our generations to come.
Let me ask you one last question. I've become a senior now. I mean, I look, but I'm a senior. How does seniors work into this? What's available for the senior?
Absolutely.
If I want to come over as a senior, what can I get involved in?
Oh, there is so much that you can get involved in. If you want to come and just welcome, our members to the facility, you're able to be a greeter. If you are wanting to participate in our active older adults classes, whether it be pool-based classes or land-based classes, you have that opportunity to do that. If you want to have that social aspect, if it's just having a cup of coffee and breaking bread with your neighbor, you're able to do that, and you see that happening each and every day. And so when we talk about our active older adults or seniors, this is what it's about, When we talk about building community, we want to see from babies to our Ys, our active older adults, in our facility, and this is what it shows to be a thriving, right, vibrant Y. That is what makes David Scott, right? And it also it just serves with the work that we're doing.
That's fantastic. Whitney, look, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule. It's been a great day today, but we want to at least get David Scott on the record with Black Video News in this community.
Absolutely.
There's the great O.D. Davis right there behind me. Come here, O.D., for a second while I got the camera on. Say a couple things about David Scott Y for me, buddy.
Well, I can say that it led me in the right direction. It started
Standing.
off a career that I didn't know I was going to get into, playing professional baseball, and
Love
also
this guy.
getting a degree in engineering. It was something that my dad kind of focused us on. And my brother did a legacy of following behind him, trying to get to the community, because what was happening, we were losing all of the good people, athletes, scholars, to the streets.
Yes, sir.
And back during that time, it was something to him to try to corral these minds and get them in a place that they could get home in the afternoons.
That's visionary.
And come
I love
in
it.
and doing it. And the success is the people that followed behind.
Yes, sir.
Just like her.
You bet.
She's leading in the direction that people like Shannon and all the other guys, they take it from their heart.
Yes,
and that's
sir.
what I'm noticing about Whitney.
I can tell. I said
challenge. She's going to be a good thing for this side of Y. This
Odie,
side of
I
the
appreciate
Y.
you, man. I have great respect for you. I've known you a while, and you've always been open to the community. I like your baseball skills, no question about that.
Well, thank
and
you.
just want to thank you and Whitney and the David Scott Y for what y'all do for this community. This is our building. Let's support this place. You know, they don't run on thin air, but it's a quality operation. Everybody's professional in here. Guys like Odie. Whitney runs the show. But she's a caring, you can tell just from talking to her, she cares about this community and the people that she's serving. So on behalf of David Scott, Black Video News, thank you guys for taking time out with us, guys.
Remember my brother.
Absolutely, we appreciate you guys, okay? Thanks again, guys.